Just got this alert that says Stone Cold surprises George Kittle. What does that mean?
Oh, boy.
WWE legend surprised the 49er star George Kittle mid-interview. Was this? Oh, this was on First Take. Little Kittle's face. That's fantastic.
Oh, snap.
Did you see that?
No, I hadn't seen it. Hold on.
Here, look. Can you see Kittle's face on your screen?
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. As we're going live here on Twitch, YouTube. What did we do? Periscope here today. We appreciate everybody jumping in. We got Kings basketball to talk about. Mark Jones. Sir. Mark Jones set to join us coming up at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. Man, we will talk a ton of Kings today. And I think that we have some of our issues dealt with. Like you might hear a little commercial right there. So I think we have some of our issues fixed. Honest to God, I don't know. We're all going to figure it out together. And, if something goes wrong, you'll tell us. So you've never had any problem telling us before.
So what's going to happen, Damien, is I'd say about 10 years from now, when I forgot the guy's name, but he was ranking all the shows, such and such, the big market and the regular market or whatever. 10 years from now, when we're the number one show in a major market, because Sacramento's going to elevate, we'll be like, you guys remember back in 2021 when we first started, you guys couldn't even hear the interviews. Now look at us. We're in a major studio. We're syndicated all over the place. We're going to look back on this.
Except that your boy titled the show Kings Beat Pelicans on another big night from Fox I said Kings Beat Raptors rather than Kings Beat Pelicans.
That's a rip. Remind me to give you a rip when I see you.
Remind me to just throw my face through a glass wall like Marty Jannetty. Just remind me to do that.
Like Marty Jannetty.
Just let me go.
You're trying to run away.
Just let me do.
You're trying to escape.
Marty Jannetty tried to jump through the window. Yeah, this is so frustrating. I hate when I do. I have a low tolerance for stupidity and an even lower tolerance when it's mine. Because this is my stupidity. We're going live in 1 minute. So we're going to test out our new little setup here and see if it works. If you're on YouTube, just ignore the whole, Pelicans thing or the Raptors thing.
Twitch.
So
we on Periscope or Facebook today?
We are on Periscope. Yeah, after the ratings juggernaut that post-game vibes was last night with the superstar Kenny Caraway.
We did a couple numbers.
It's funny. Kenny goes, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go like 5 minutes," and then
but I go 15.
A couple hundred people trickle in, and it's like Kenny's doing a stand-up act, and here we go. We worked all morning thinking that we had this thing set up, and we are 5 seconds into it and know that we very much do not. But regardless, this is a radio show above all else, and we appreciate you so much for tuning in and be a part of the show. The Sacramento Kings finish a 4-game road trip, 3-1, after getting a win over the New Orleans Pelicans last night, 118 to 109, another massive night from De'Aaron Fox. We will talk a whole lot about that Sacramento Kings victory last night, and we won't do it alone. Mark Jones, play-by-play announcer for the Sacramento Kings, is going to be with us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. We welcome everybody watching on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We welcome everybody watching on YouTube and Periscope as well. We are thrilled that you are here with us. KC, How about that? 118-109. Kings are headed home after a 3-1 road trip.
Hey, I'm gonna just ask you off top. Do we have action here, Damian, with these Kings? We got a little action? What you think about this team? We got a little action?
We might, man. We might. I mean, it's impossible to ignore the fact that they get the win against the Knicks. They know at the time of the Knicks game that they're going to have a couple of days off. The Memphis games have already been canceled. They've already been postponed at that point. They know that they're staying home. They know that they're not going on the road. They know that their road trip, which was a 6-game road trip, is ultimately a 4-game road trip now. And ever since, you playing the top defense in the league, that game is going to be a little bit different. Ever since then, ever since that, impromptu, unscheduled break, they have been a completely different team. And it's impossible to ignore that they are much, 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 much better defensively.
Yeah, and I know that they haven't played these super offensive juggernauts or whatever, although New Orleans was putting points up throughout this whole season. But I understand New York, Orlando, teams like that, they're not super juggernauts or whatever, Miami. But at the same time, there were times when they were playing the Torontos or somebody, and they were giving up 140, and they were playing these average offensive teams, and they were getting lit up. So I really think that they deserve a little credit for what they were able to do. And they also, the players and the coaches, they deserve credit for using that time, maximizing that time off that they had with the whole Memphis experiment. I mean, they got in the gym, they got to work. I remember last night, De'Aaron Fox was talking about in the post game that they, played these games where to win, you had to get defensive stops. They really took an emphasis on getting better as a team on the defensive end. And it's showing improvement right now. Like I said, they've got other games coming up. They're going to up the level of competition, but I'm not going to sneeze at what they were able to do on this road trip and in that Knicks game.
Yeah, the Knicks game, and that felt like, and we talked about this leading into that night, and I feel like this conversation we had just takes on an entirely different context now. Is we asked, would you talk about? We often hear the term dictating the pace, and that's the phrase we've all come too familiar with: dictating the pace, dictating the pace. Mm-hmm. We asked headed into that game against the Knicks, could the Knicks dictate the pace? Could you force the Sacramento Kings into a defensive style of game? And I don't know if the Knicks forced them into it or if the Kings just willingly knew, hey, we're going against the Tom Thibodeau-led team. We're going against a team that doesn't score a lot of points. At the same time, they're the best defense in the league. They don't give up a lot of points. And they went in with a different mindset into that New York Knicks game than they had in any other game so far that season, because prior to the Knicks game, they were giving up like 123 points per game. Yeah. Since then, it's been 107. So they went from dead last in the league in terms of defense to, I had a note here, I think that would be good for 8th or 9th. I was
about to say one of the best in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be, the Lakers are above them, the Clippers are above them, the defensive teams, obviously the Knicks that you'd expect are above them, but their stretch of counting the Knicks game, their stretch of 5 games, they've been an entirely different defensive unit.
All right, and we've taken long enough. We got to talk about one of the guys during this stretch. One of the guys, because there's been a lot of contributors, but the straw that stirs the drink. Number 5, what he's done in the last 5 to 7 games, culminating with what he did last night. This is what I'm talking about, Damian. This is when I get on the airwaves and I sit up here and I say, I need more from Fox. Fox, the teacher is asking us to open the books. We're looking at you. You're the leader. We're going to follow you. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm talking about. And what the show he put on in the fourth quarter last night, and really, Damian, it was like the second half of the fourth quarter. He didn't spend the whole fourth quarter scoring. It started with like 7 minutes to go. Half the quarter was over, and he went off last night. I mean, I talked about it in the post-game vibes. It was one of those moments where if De'Aaron Fox, takes us to the promised land and all this other stuff, I think last night is going to be one of those games. Remember back in 21 when Fox went crazy against the Heat, and then the next game in the fourth quarter, he went crazy against the Pelicans? Like, it was one of those nights, what he did in that fourth quarter last night. Put the team on his back. He did it.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Back-to-back 30-point games for the first time in his career. 35. He had 38 and 12. It's his second career game with 35 and 10. It's his second time doing it this season. It's his second time doing it against the Pelicans.
Oh yeah, he killed
this
Pelicans.
season. You can't tell me he's not purposely lighting up Lonzo Ball.
I really believe De'Aaron Fox is one of those guys, man. This is something that I would do. I see somebody out there that I got any kind of interaction with. Like, I think in real life, him and Lonzo are pretty cool, but competitively, basketball wise, oh no, I'm going to work on him every time, because I remember what happened 5 years ago. That's probably what's in his head. He's like, just forever, I'm gonna be on your head.
And he stay on him. Like, he stay on him. Like, I mean, my goodness. That was just that video, the move that he did in the fourth quarter, oh my God. Man,
and like I said, he didn't put Lonzo on De'Aaron Fox's all-time highlight reel. Like, that's going to be, when you talk about Fox and his highlight tape, that one's on there.
Yeah. And then, like, the Kings put out a video from a different angle that someone on the ESPN 1320 social team, man, I don't know who, they isolated the part where he fakes Lonzo, and
some genius.
You just see Lonzo just like diving for something that's not there, and he's watching. He like turns and sees De'Aaron just, It's like the beginning of a bad movie where it's like, I bet you're wondering how I got here. Like, if you isolated,
as soon as he turns this way,
I bet you're wondering how I got here. Well, it all started in the draft in the Los Angeles Lakers, and Magic Johnson said I was the next him, and lo and behold.
Right. Matter of fact, let me take you back to Memphis, Tennessee. It was the Sweet 16.
So let's start when I started skipping games against De'Aaron Fox. It was
Las Vegas, Nevada, early July.
It was to avoid moments like this that you saw on February 1st, 2021.
De'Aaron was so cold last night.
Another great moment in Black History Month. De'Aaron Fox fakes Lonzo Ball at a game at the Smoothie King Arena in New Orleans. Hit the music. Dum, dum, dum. Another great moment in Black history.
I'm not going to get into anything that you and Barry Axis talk about on the Bill Black podcast. I'm not.
It's Black Heritage Month. That's what it is.
I'm not going where Barry goes every time he gets an opportunity. I ain't doing it.
Right. That's all right, man. I have my own feelings on Black History Month too, but I'm reminded of I feel like that's an old, maybe it's I feel like it's in the Living Color skit, but maybe it's some other skit where it was.
It's either that or Chappelle. Didn't Chappelle?
Maybe it's Chappelle. But I feel like Chappelle was like great moments for a black guy or something.
I think that's what his was. Yeah. It wasn't just a month. It was like forever.
I don't know what it is, but what De'Aaron did to Lonzo last night, that's a great moment just in history, period.
It was phenomenal. And look, man, they stole my young boy's points. He should have had about 41. Actually, to be honest with you, he probably should have had about 43, because the offensive foul on the end one, that was ridiculous. Yeah. That was criminal. Yeah. All right. Like I said, that ref, he's going to be at Harwood Palace in a couple weeks. All right. He's going to be doing your AAU games, your CYO games over at Wackford down in Laguna or whatever the case may be, because he ain't going to be long for the NBA. Yeah, the Wackford Community Center. You're going to be over there doing CYO games when we can get back to playing. You're going to be at Harwood Palace doing all that, because he was terrible last night. And the offensive foul on De'Aaron Fox. Are you kidding me? Kira Lewis was out there playing defense with his chin. And somehow Fox was actually trying to avoid. If you look, he brought his elbow in, and it still hit him in the chin. He's going to call offensive foul. Yo, I'll see that boy at Harwood Palace soon. He'll be out there at Harwood Palace. But nah, Fox, he should have 40 plus, but it's whatever. He was amazing last night.
Not for the reasons that he should have had higher point totals in previous games, because he was 7 of 7 from the foul line. Kings as a unit still got some questions as to, their 76% shooting from the foul line. But De'Aaron did his part this time, 7 of 7 from the line.
He did. That was the only part of Kenny Keys that they did not hit yesterday. They, like you said, 76%. I wanted 80%, but it's whatever. They hit the other two. But De'Aaron Fox did his job. 7 of 7 from the free throw line. I love that. Injected into my veins. Come on. Bring it in. I need 7 for 7 every time. Come on.
Yeah, we need that. Yeah, we need that. We said yesterday you want De'Aaron to flirt with that 80% marker.
Yes.
At the line, and he's got a long way to go. But last night was a start. I don't expect him to hit. I would like him to go to the line more than 7 times. But if you're hitting all 7 of them, I'll take it. I'll take 7 if you're hitting all 7 of them.
And here's the other thing that yesterday really magnified and accentuated is, and this is going to be the age-old question for De'Aaron Fox. If he gets the consistent jump shot, he's unguardable. He's unguardable. If you got to respect the jump shot, you can't do both. We talked about the Kings forever not being able to guard the perimeter and the paint at the same time. Can't do both. Mm-hmm. When guarding De'Aaron Fox, if he can hit the jump shot at a consistent clip, you can't guard him. He's too fast. And the race against time is going to be like a timeline to where he's still super fast and he can shoot. Like there's going to be like a window of like maybe 3 or 4 years where he's going to be like at the peak of his physical powers and he could shoot. Oh man, we got action. We got action.
Like De'Aaron is a legitimate superhero. Like he's going to be at the peak of his powers. It's going to be fascinating. I don't totally know the reference, but I get it enough. Like is De'Aaron going to have all 5 of the rings?
Yeah,
the things that Thanos was trying to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched it once. If he gets the jump shot,
to get it.
No, it was a great movie.
I'm not going
to go. It's definitely a solid wrestler. I'm not going to go crazy on you here for only seeing it once. I'm not really a comics books guy, myself, but that was phenomenal. Endgame was sensational.
Okay, well, De'Aaron's Endgame was sensational. Last night, 118-109, the Kings win. We're just kicking off the conversation. The Kings talk here today. Mark Jones coming up at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. You talked about officiating. We should probably expand on that because the drama
Stop hating on my mans.
Marvin Bagley playing in the fourth quarter was taken completely away from us before we got anywhere near approaching the fourth quarter. We'll explain as D'Lo and KC continue here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. All right. I don't know. Something changed the second we went live. Jonathan said audio dropped as soon as you went live. Like I heard it change.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I still got the commercials playing, but like when the intro sounded completely normal, and then like halfway through it, it sounded totally different, and then that's where the echo came, and I just killed it. So. Even as I unmute it, like something's wrong with it. Like it's like not a clear connection here. So foiled again. Yeah. This was my idea. This was the one that I thought for sure would work. I don't know, team. I know you guys can hear that. You can hear that, Kenny, right?
I hear it. Yeah.
Can you guys on the feed hear that when I hit this button? Y'all hear that, don't you? Just give the thumbs up on in the stream if you can hear it. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, could you hit the thumbs up and share and do all of that good stuff that you've got to do on all these social media platforms? They don't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Huh. Son of a. All right. I'm killing all this, Jesse. Let's just drop it and focus on the show. What's that? Yeah, no, it's not working. Like they can't even hear it on the stream. So whatever my thought was completely wrong. They couldn't even hear it. So we're failing miserably here. Let's get over here into these. Did I see Marshall Harris in here? Is Marshall Harris in the chat? I'm almost positive I saw Marshall Harris in the chat as I was dealing with. Look at that guy right there. Look at that guy right there. Oh, Ramsey got us on the big screen today. Okay.
Marshall tried to get upset with me because I'm not soft. Yeah, yesterday talking about sprained ankles. Yeah, he mad at me because I'm not soft. How's that my fault? Because I come back in 2 days from a sprained ankle.
Well, you've got your superpowers too.
The whole basis of that, me and my buddy, we have this discussion all the time about the injuries that we suffer, like in high school and sprained ankles, and we tie it up, play through it, or whatever the case may be. Are the sprained ankles the same? So, for instance, in high school, if we would have the Sacramento Kings, like Pete Youngman as the trainer, would he say, you shouldn't play for 3 weeks? You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine they're different sprained ankles.
Oh, no, that's not true. There are different grades of ankles.
There's different grades, but I'm saying, like, I've had the worst. Like, I've heard a pop when I sprained my ankle before. And I played a week later or whatever the case may be. Now, I wasn't, like, super effective. I wasn't, like, moving at 100%. I was probably, like, 65%. But if I was in the NBA and I heard a pop, would I be out for 6 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the question me and my buddy always ask. Casey comes back from sprain ankle 2 ways. Maybe I mentioned that, Rich. Damien, didn't I mention that? It's like,
yeah, you
did.
Like,
so we just never gonna play Jimmy again because of that.
Someone's a smart ass. Anybody ID?
Come on.
Oh man. It can't stop us from having fun, man. No matter how many hurdles technology throws in front of us, we're going to have fun over here on twitch.tv/ESPN1320. We're on Periscope. Follow us at ESPN1320 and on YouTube. You guessed it, at ESPN1320. We appreciate all of you for being here, of course, on the radio.com app and on 1320 AM as well. If you want to be a part of the conversation today, 916-349-1320. Of course, we're available on Twitter as well. Mark Jones, play-by-play for the Sacramento Kings, set to join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. Anxious to hear. Yes, sir.
No, I was just going to say, you, Mark Jones, you introduce him. I just need to say it now. He's absolutely killing it.
Oh, my God.
I thought he was going to be great as a play-by-play announcer, to listen to him every night.
Mm-hmm.
He's even better than I thought.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's the number 2 guy at the mothership in Bristol, Connecticut. He's in charge of the some of the most important games that we hear each year, not just the Sacramento Kings games. I'm talking about the nationally televised games, man. He is as good of a broadcaster as exists. Yes. So the fact that he's here with us is pretty exciting, man, and it's pretty awesome. And the chemistry between him and Doug Christie is incredible. And I know I'm not the only one who listens to Doug knowing that, like, he's loosening up probably for the first time in his career. Like, not that I don't think anybody ever looked at Doug and go, man, I wish this dude was having fun. Like, because he always looks like he's having fun. But I was thinking about this as for those who are watching, you see the title on the screen is the line from Doug Christie about 0 Fox given. And I just don't think he would have uttered that phrase last year.
I don't think so either.
I just think there are some things that he wouldn't have said, wouldn't have talked about, last year with such a dominating personality sitting next to him. But for him and Mark to be able to be together, have similar interests, be able to grow together, tell their stories of basketball together, I think is pretty awesome, man. And it's created, and the same is true for Kyle. I enjoy Kyle. It was a great treat to hear Coase the other night, but Mark Jones is a top tier broadcaster in the entire field. So the fact that we've got kind of the Mike Breen deal, where Mike Breen is the top voice for ESPN, but he's also the New York Knicks broadcaster. The fact that we've got that honor with Mark Jones is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I've enjoyed this first part of the season, getting a chance to listen to him every night. Obviously, I used to listen to him on ESPN, but it hits different when it's your team, when it's local. You know what I mean?
I remember, I know I tweeted this too. That opening night, that first game of the season, when he opened the show, he didn't say anything like prophetic and profound. I just remember thinking, holy crap, this is Mark Jones. Like, Mark Jones opening up a broadcast for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah. Like, I think that's dope in any sense. I think there's probably a portion of the fan base who loved it significantly more than perhaps another portion of the fan base did. I was in the portion that loved it. And he's he's a treat to listen to. And he's a well-connected guy he's talked to some people who have some feelings about De'Aaron Fox. And man, We both did some post game shows last night on these ESPN 1320 channels. You did post game vibes. I did Kings Talk, and man, there's gonna start being a serious conversation about De'Aaron Fox in the All-Star game. And on the surface, it's fun. Like yes, of course. But man, it's tough. And we'll outline some of that here as we roll along. We'll outline that as we lead into Mark Jones joining us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. But I want to focus a little bit more on the game last night against the Pelicans. We've kind of pinpointed De'Aaron Fox. By the way, 21 minutes into the show. Shame on you.
No, we're right on.
Shame on me.
We're right on schedule.
I know. I feel like we should probably talk about 10 more things before we address the fact that Harrison
Raw
Barnes
last night.
Harrison Barnes again was phenomenal.
Yes.
He could, and I just can't think, if you've got a better term for me, then throw it this way. He is the rock of this roster. He is the rock of this 2021 version of the Sacramento Kings, and he is as steady as they come. They get the job done. His 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists are completely buried. His incredibly efficient 24 points, completely buried because of how great De'Aaron Fox was last night. But they're not even in the position to win that game if it's not for Harrison Barnes.
Absolutely. And we all know I call De'Aaron Fox a straw that stirs a drink. He brought him home. He did everything that I wanted him to do last night. But I can make the argument that they're not in that position in going into the fourth quarter or during the fourth quarter without what Harrison Barnes was able to do in the third quarter, specifically when Marvin Bagley got ejected, because they were struggling. And I feel, just watching the game, I feel Harrison Barnes and what he was able to do kept that game around 8 to 10 as opposed to it being 18 to 20 point deficit. And that set the table for them to make a little run in the fourth quarter. But I mean, he was making big shots. He was making nice little dimes to Rashawn Holmes. For a moment, he was doing everything. And I mean, what a game in its totality. Like you said, 24 points on the night. He was phenomenal. I love me some Harrison Barnes.
Tyrese Halliburton continues to not shoot the ball particularly well. And it really doesn't matter, because he just keeps doing more of something else, whether it's racking up the assist totals. He was crashing the glass last night. He had 11 rebounds to go with his 6 assists, only 5 points last night. But you never look at him and you go, gosh, Tyrese is really having an off night. Like, he may not be as productive as you'd like him to be offensively, but Tyrese, what are we in, game 20? Tyrese has maybe had 1 or 2 like completely off nights so far this season in which you didn't feel like he was very impactful. But even that is a bit of a stretch, because when that shot's not falling for him, and this is maybe the 3rd straight game it hasn't, he's finding other major ways to contribute, and that again was the case last night.
No, he's struggling with his shot, but a testament to his game is, if I see him in there or I see him late in the game or whatever, it's never like, man, we got to get him out of here, because he's doing so many other things. He, like you said, he's crashing the boards. He had 6 assists last night. That can't be overlooked. Defensively, he's active. He had a big one of those. I forgot who it was on Twitter. I don't even know if it was a Kings person, but they called him the Ed Reed of, he makes these Ed Reed steals where he baits these people into making passes that he's already anticipated. Then he had another one last night against Zion. Zion tried to kick it to the corner, and there was Tyrese picking that off late in the fourth quarter. So he really does do so many other things out there on the floor, where if the shot isn't falling or he is struggling from deep, he's still effective, and he's still a major player in what the Kings are trying to do that particular night.
Let's get into some of the bad things that happened last night, because it wasn't flawless. There are some things that didn't go particularly well. Marvin Bagley being one of them, not necessarily in Marvin's play, though he wasn't having a stellar offensive output. I thought he did pretty well defensively when he was in there, but that's the problem. He wasn't in there very long. And this isn't Luke Walton not playing him. He got what I thought was the weakest technical foul in recent history. Yeah. And I was wrong. My sincerest apologies. The weakest technical foul in history actually came a quarter later when he got his second one and was ultimately tossed out of the game for, I'm sure, one, if not both, of those calls are going to wind up being rescinded, but it doesn't matter because Marvin Bagley wasn't able to finish that game and play.
That was an embarrassment. That was an absolute embarrassment what happened with that second technical foul. I mean, I know it was already an embarrassment, but then you had the refs, the lead ref speaking afterwards. I almost would really appreciate if they were to come back and say, we messed up. We messed up. Quick whistle, whatever the case may be. But they try to come back and double down and be like, yeah, it was not in the heat of the moment action. What? What gets more in the heat of the moment than a guy jumping up once, saying, oh, and then twirling around? And then that was it. He didn't curse nobody out. He didn't do nothing. Like, that was embarrassing. And it would be embarrassing in any form or fashion of refereeing. But when the guy already has one technical foul and that's how you're going to eject him, no, it really is embarrassing. I know I joke about, Hardwood Palace and all this other stuff, but it's a bigger issue with referees in general. And I don't really get on the referees at all at any level, but they do too much. Like, they do entirely too much. And what's going on, we saw this with the whole Draymond Green thing and everything. But even with that, at least they came out after the game and said, I thought he was talking to me. I got it wrong. You know what I'm saying? Not double down like, oh, it wasn't in the heat of the moment reaction. Like, stop, man. Like, there's a big problem with refereeing all across the landscape.
My issue with those types of things is, like, you can rescind the technical, you could say my bad, you could do all of that stuff, but in the case of Draymond Green that you just mentioned, and in the case of Marvin Bagley last night, he lost the minutes, he couldn't be back out there on the floor. The team wound up winning, which obviously that's the most important part. The team wound up winning, but still, when you take a key player out of a game like that, and then just go, my bad, whoops, sorry about that, like, that's not adequate enough.
Not at all.
Like, that doesn't work, and so and officiating is a difficult job, man. But
it really is.
You better be really, really sure when you toss a player out. Like, you better be positive that, like, hey, this warrants being thrown out of the game.
Yeah. But see, here's the problem. If that, and I, once again, I joke with the rookie ref or whatever, like, not asking for him to lose his job or whatever, but
not yet.
Not yet. And I didn't say he would never ref again. I just said it would be at Hardwood Palace instead of the NBA. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know that I want him reffing my godson's AAU game. I don't know, but go ahead. I get your point. I'm gonna keep an eye out.
So here's the problem, though. Judging by, like, what that lead official said or whatever, if he doesn't call that technical foul, then he gets in trouble from his boss. And it's like, well, what are you bosses looking at? What are you guys talking about where that is an acceptable call? That's something that you're looking to call in that type of situation. It's completely embarrassing. And like you said, it doesn't matter if it gets rescinded or the fine gets rescinded. It doesn't go on his record as far as his tally, his technical fouls. He was out of that game. And if they would have lost that game, he would have been a big reason why they would have lost that game, because Marvin Bagley wasn't, like, exceptional, but I thought he was doing pretty well in that game. I thought he was going at Zion. Him and Zion were having a nice little battle. They had their different ways about scoring. Zion was a little more brute force, but Bagley was using his quickness and his agility and things like that. And he wasn't backing down. Like, they were having a nice little battle, and I wanted to see how that played out. And we won't be able to find out until they match up again. So, and like I said, if the Kings would have lost that game, there's nothing they would have been able to do to get that back.
You're just stuck with it. Yeah. You're just absolutely stuck with it. And that, again, it magnifies a little bit what the Kings were able to do defensively, and that Ingram and Zion weren't particularly good. Like Brandon Ingram, I know, scored 20, but he did it off 20 shots. Like, he was 6 of 20 from the field yesterday. Yeah. I don't want to say he was non-existent, but there was never a point where I was like, oh, man, Brandon Ingram, like, watch out, or, oh, somebody go find Ingram. Like, he wasn't invisible, but he wasn't a factor either.
Right.
Zion is too damn big to not be like he's his just brute physical force. It just wasn't as strong. Like, it wasn't as relevant as it was in games past. I didn't feel like he had the same the same impact as he did back when these two teams played a little bit ago.
And Zion is a problem. Don't get it twisted. And I'm not trying to go, how do I put this? I'm not trying to go former Sacramento Bee sports writer on him, but does he look a little too big to you?
No, I don't understand. I don't understand that. Like gets mentioned a lot. And I hear people like who are significantly smarter in NBA circles than I am say the same thing. And I don't understand. Like he's a big dude. Like, what do you want him to look like?
I don't want him to lose a lot of that size because I think that's what makes him unique and that's part of who he is. But I was just watching yesterday and I said, he looks a little too big out there. Like he could stand to lose 10 to 15 or shape that up into muscle or whatever the case whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying he's not working. I'm not even saying he's necessarily out of shape. But I think if he got a little more tone, one way or the other, like I said, maybe it's not losing the weight, but transferring that into muscle or whatever the case may be, I think it would serve him. It would serve him well because, man, that's just a lot. That's just a lot to deal with beefy. As far as he's definitely
beefy. he's a biggie. He's Biggie out there on a basketball court.
Looks like Biggie out there.
Yeah, he's Biggie out there on a basketball court. In what could very well be a sign of things to come. LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton were just named Eastern and Western Conference Rookie of the Month.
Let's go. Let's go, Tyrese.
LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton. I think you're going to hear that a lot over the course of the next few weeks. Go ahead, hit your button.
Tyrese Halliburton, Rookie of the Month. Got to get the mirror horns for him, baby. Come on now.
Go. All right. You feel better?
I feel great. My household is happy right now.
I was going to say this is the perfect scenario for the Caraway household, as one member has this weird fascination with the LaMelo Ball, and the other one is a fan of Tyrese Halliburton. So it's celebration night. It's a celebration.
Charlie Murphy.
With the Caraway household, as you got LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton winning Rookies of the Month. And
that's really cool. That's dope.
Again, I think this you would have to work for me to put Wiseman in the conversation. I feel like these are the two players that are going to be battling for Rookie of the Year when the season's coming to a conclusion.
I think so too. Wiseman has done some good things, but it's probably going to hurt his case that he got taken out of the starting lineup, even if it wasn't his fault or because of production or whatever the case may be. That'll hurt his case. And Anthony Edwards, he super talented, but right now he's just kind of in a bad situation. The numbers probably don't back it up because he's forced to take a lot of bad shots or whatever. So to your point, I think it's these two.
What's good
about these two and Emmanuel quickly.
What's good?
Go Knicks.
What's good about Tyrese winning it? It's okay. They're paying attention. Yeah. They're paying attention to what Tyrese is doing, and I think
absolutely,
perhaps maybe greater, they're paying attention to what is going on here in Sacramento. So that bodes well for Tyrese Halliburton and his opportunity to potentially win this award at the end of the year, and perhaps it bodes well for De'Aaron Fox coming up in the next 4 or 5 weeks or so.
Yes. Now, I will say this about Tyrese Halliburton. You're 100% right. They are paying attention, and the rest of the league is paying attention. And I think that has something to do with why he hasn't been as spectacular as of late. I think they're game planning for him. I think they're like looking at tendencies and looking to take certain things away. And as a rookie, he's processing that right now. He's saying, okay, well, the things that I was able to do 2 weeks ago, they're not necessarily there for me all the time. And I see where it's kind of sped up a little bit on him. And the next step is for him to get back into the lab, which I know he is, and kind of see what's going and make an adjustment.
Yeah. We talked about, I was stalling for time trying to remember the game. Oh, it was Orlando. When they would run around the screens differently for De'Aaron, for Buddy. They would both go over, but for Tyrese, they would go under the screen, and that's because they're basically daring him to shoot.
Yeah.
He's shot like the same percentage in the last 3 games in a row. You could even go back to that Orlando game and throw that one in there too. Like they're daring him to shoot, and he's just like, oh, I'll just find other ways to contribute. And whether it's racking up double-digit assists or in the case of last night, racking up double-digit rebounds, he's a young man who it's still a line from 1997, The Rock, like know your role.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese finds his role. And it may not be the same every night.
Mm-hmm.
It could be on the boards. It could be dishing the ball. It could be running that bench unit, which doesn't seem to be the case anymore, as we've seen Corey Joseph's minutes go down. It was good to see Metu get a solid 8 seconds of play last night. Kyle Guy came in for the Jay-Z minutes, 444. But other than that, this game was won with Tyrese Halliburton and the starters.
Yep, absolutely. And I got what I've been asking for a long time. De'Aaron Fox, 40 minutes. Now, I'm not saying I need him to go 40 minutes a night, but in a situation like that, when the game is in the balance and you got a chance to do something, that could really boost this team. It looked like Luke really went for it yesterday, trying to get that 3-1 road trip. Hey, let that man play the whole fourth quarter. Don't get off of your whole minutes thing or whatever. And he did that. I think that 5 that finished between Fox, Hield, Halliburton, Holmes, and Barnes, they played the whole fourth quarter. So I like that. I like that. Once again, I'm not saying he needs to play 40 minutes a night, but there's times when you got to ride him. The kid's 23 years old or whatever the case may be. He'll be all right. He'll be fine.
Yeah. For sure. 916-349-1320. We still got Manny there. Manny, want to get in on this? Hey! Yes, sir.
They out here, baby. They out here.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
It's infuriating, man.
That was terrible. And Fox's offensive foul, I thought it wasn't a technical foul, but it was about as egregious as you get. I don't know how you determine that to be an offensive foul. And they reviewed it and still said it was an offensive foul.
You got it, man. It happens to all of us, baby. Don't worry about it. It happens to all of us.
Happens to me once a day. Mm-hmm. I can believe
Absolutely.
it.
We appreciate you, Manny.
It.
Thank you as always, my brother. Yeah, Harrison Barnes, man, really getting up there. 28 years old.
I was just about to say, how old is he? He's not even 30 yet.
28 years old.
Look,
talk about Harrison Barnes like he is an old ass man.
I'm going to tell you right now, Damian, and I know a lot of people, Kings community that follow the Kings or whatever the case may be, they're looking to get something for Harrison Barnes. I ain't moving Harrison Barnes.
Nope,
I'm not doing it. And being 28 years old, like, I'm not saying it has to be 4 years, 80 million or whatever, but he needs to be a king in his next contract too, in my opinion. Yeah. It's only 28.
No argument at all.
Yeah,
that's the guy. He's the perfect player. He's the perfect person in the community. Like there's even his contract now. There's nothing wrong with his contract right now. Like it's not. Again, we sometimes look at these NBA contracts as if like we're spending our money, like as if somehow as a fan our money gets sent into this imaginary pit that winds up paying for Harrison Barnes and De'Aaron Fox. Like, I know that you think because you bought a ticket to the game. Like, no, you don't. We help pay your salary. No, you don't. I promise you, you don't. That big fat ass NBC contract, that helps pay the salary. The contract with ESPN, that pays the salary. You ain't got to worry about how much Harrison Barnes makes. He's paid just fine, and his role right now with the Kings is it's irreplaceable. Like there's no one on the roster who can do what he is doing. Certainly not for a long-term period of time, man. So I'm with you 100%. Harrison Barnes is a guy I want to see in a Kings uniform for a very, very long time. Harrison Barnes is a guy I want to see in the Sacramento community for a very, very long time. And those were the two guys that led the way. A nice little bounce-back game. One more negative, I guess. It's kind of negative. Just one more thing to look at, I guess, from last night's game, and that's Buddy. And I'm not really going to, dive in on Buddy being 4 of 16 after seemingly it felt like for a couple of games maybe he had gotten into a rhythm. What I will focus on, though, is 16 field goal attempts. 15 of them were threes. Now, when you look at his most efficient games, the 29-point game a couple of nights ago and the one that followed, he wasn't taking a 90+% ratio, a 90+ percentage of field goal attempts being threes. Yeah. We had seen that for a stretch. He had that great 29-point outing, and he seemed to have kind of settled down, finding some mid-range stuff, getting a little bit more aggressive and going to the basket, and that has disappeared once again in the last two games, and those percentage of three-pointers have gone sky high again.
Yeah, man. It's one of the things that I talked about with you. I think we talked about on the air, but definitely off the air. When that defense gets a little more physical, that's when he reverts back to settling for the jump shots, in my opinion. And Lonzo Ball, you can say a lot of things about Lonzo Ball. He's a top flight defender, and he was on Buddy Hield for a lot of the night last night. And Buddy kind of shied away from attacking the basket. So that's something that I don't know if that's just in him, if we get to see him come back to a different way, but yeah, I'm not feeling that. I will say this real quick about Buddy, though.
He don't want that smoke. He don't want that smoke.
I will say this, though, about Buddy Hield, though, is 8 rebounds last night. And I don't have the number in front of me. I feel like he got his nose in there in the fourth quarter a lot last night. When Rashawn was trying to fight against Zion and coming on doubles and things of that nature, he got some tough rebounds last night, and I got to give a shout out to Buddy for that for sure.
And you're right, Lonzo is a top flight defender. We saw him fly right out of the screen when De'Aaron Fox faked him out. Mark Jones set to join us here as D'Lo and KC continue on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Get over here in these comments. What y'all doing?
Y'all talking about? They were talking about LeVar a lot.
Oh, I see that.
I didn't follow exactly what was being said, but I will say this about LeVar without even reading everything. At first I was not a big LeVar guy.
Yeah, we in here on LeVar. Holy cow.
Yeah. I wasn't a big LeVar guy, but number one, after a little while, I was like, yo, he's a character, in that respect. What he was doing on TV and stuff, he's a character. Number two, he's supporting his sons. He's just doing it verbally. You know what I mean? But he's telling his sons, is that Rich again? Rich's name is something else. Oh, it's Eric. All right. But no, I agree with Eric. You know what I mean? Like LeVar is supporting his sons. He's raised, from all intents and purposes, 3 super respectful, really nice young men. He deserves credit for it. The only things I didn't like about LeVar is I didn't like the Luke Walton stuff. I didn't like after UCLA lost to Kentucky how he blamed the other players for the loss. And I think he even mentioned something about, they got these white guys or something. I wasn't feeling that.
Yeah.
And then and that was really about it. Like other than that,
Eric
I didn't have
on
a problem.
Twitch and YouTube. How are you pulling that off? I mean, I ain't mad. Just could you hit the thumbs up and all that good stuff? I mean, I'm impressed.
I am.
Appreciate you, Jay. Appreciate you, Leezy. Thanks for hanging out with us, baby, as always.
Leezy.
So, hey, you guys know the drill, man. Put on the radio.com app. You're not going to be able to hear Mark in a few minutes, and I know you're going to want to hear that one. So just make sure you come back and hang out with us.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
I thought we had it, man. I honest to God thought we had it.
We going to get there. Is that what somebody's doing, Warren? Or maybe you're doing, like you listen to radio.com in a different browser so you don't have to like change your platform.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay.
Fox with 10 threes last night. Yeah, probably a little too
It's
much,
3 of
but
10. Yeah.
but
is that his second game in a row with double
yeah,
digit?
I think
I feel
so. He
like
had
I feel like
11
if he didn't do
Miami.
it, yeah, I feel like if he didn't do it against Miami, he did it against was it Tampa, Toronto, Tampa of Toronto.
I know for sure he did it against Miami. Did he do it against Toronto too?
No. What I was saying was he did it in one of those two. I wasn't
Oh
sure
yeah,
if he
yeah.
did it in the last game or not, which is Miami, or if he just did it recently. Zion is just big boned. I mean, he is a big. He's beefy.
Yeah, you got.
He's beefy dude.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him do a little bit with that frame.
What you want him to do? Get on the elliptical?
Something. We got a Peloton coming to the house today. Like maybe he's get on that.
Wait, what?
We got a Peloton coming to the house.
Hey,
yes, sir.
KC getting on that Peloton game. Okay.
I'm a maniac.
Okay. All right. Made it weird, but that's cool. It's good stuff.
One of my favorite Martin episodes is when he got really health conscious, and he go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh man. We're trying to grow these streaming channels where you can watch the show at twitch.tv/TubeTube and twitch.tv/ESPN1320 and on YouTube. And we're looking at it and we're interacting with everybody and we can see what platform they're watching on. And we realize a couple of them are actually watching from multiple platforms.
That's crazy.
It's like, hey, man, that's cool.
I love it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm with it. Mark Jones, if you're watching or listening, Mark Jones is set to join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. We're excited to talk to him. He tweeted yesterday. He talked to someone. Let me pull up and get the exact person he was talking to. I can't remember if he said it was a Western Conference coach or it was someone, but it was pertaining to De'Aaron Fox's potential all-star status. And man, that's going to be a conversation like that. Like De'Aaron all-star game, that's going to be a real conversation for, the next handful of weeks, but it's worth asking, like, man, how realistic is it? Because we know that he's playing well. That's not debatable. But then you have to start looking around at Dames, Chris Paul
balling. He had big game last
Devin
night.
Booker's going to get some love. Like it or not, Devin Booker is going to get some love, and you start to look around and you go, okay, Westbrook's gone. Good. Oh, Steph Curry's here. Like crap. Like you can, like you start looking around and you go, man, it's going to be really, really difficult for De'Aaron to wind up in the All-Star game.
It's going to be real interesting. It really is, because as I look at just kind of the layout of the land in the Western Conference right now, and we're just talking about guards here. You got, I'll put Kawhi as a 4, but you got Paul George. I think Donovan Mitchell gets in there. Lakers don't really have one. I don't think Jamal Murray gets in there. I don't think anybody from Memphis gets there. You said Chris Paul. That's 4. Booker is in the same boat as Fox, if you ask me. So they're kind of borderline, but you got Steph and Dame. That's 6 right there.
But but Book already has the nod of, okay, he's an all-star now.
Yeah. Now the funny thing about it is, because I was going to mention this as well. So I looked at Devin Booker. He's at 22.9. De'Aaron Fox is at 22.9. And that stands out to me because I think like a week ago, he was at 20. Okay. Like he's gone up 2 points a game.
Okay.
In like probably the last 5 or 6 games. So, now he's at 22.9 to go along with 6 assists, probably about a steal and a half. And I don't know. I think him and Booker are in the same spot, and it depends on how they want to do the teams as far as how many guards they're taking. I'm assuming since they're not just going point guard, shooting guard, they're going kind of player. There might be room for, I named 6 guys right there. There might be room for 8 guys right there. And Booker and Fox. I think that's your 8 right there.
Yeah.
He could get there. Somebody mentioned it in the post game vibes chat last night, and I was like, not ready. They were like, if he doesn't get in there, it's going to be a travesty. I don't want to say that yet. I don't want to say that, but he's knocking on the door right now. And it's sure enough, if he continues what he did in these last 7 games, I mean, it's hands down, but that's also a lot to ask. I think he's averaging like 27 a game in the last 7 games or something like that.
Yeah, he's playing incredible. And we know like De'Aaron's going to come from the coaches. Like barring a phenomenal show out of Sacramento Kings fans all over the country, if they still exist, he's going to wind up getting in through the coaches. He's not going to wind up getting in through the vote. And the fact that the fact that we're seeing Tyrese Halliburton get a little bit of love, if you're just tuning in, him and LaMelo Ball won their respective conferences Rookie of the Month. Again, in the small scheme of things, it's not a big deal, but I think there is a certain okay, we knew Tyrese was good, and we weren't sure if everybody else knew that he was good. Okay, everybody knows he's good. Great. Let's see how this winds up moving along. I think there's that feeling with De'Aaron Fox. We know De'Aaron is really, really good, but is he going to wind up on? I saw Pete Youngman tweet this earlier, former Kings trainer. Does he wind up in that Mike Bibby abyss? Mike Bibby's always going to be one of the best players that never made an All-Star team.
Yeah.
Remember the struggle for Dame Lillard? Dame Lillard was a yearly All-Star snub, and then he'd have this phenomenal second half of the season. And you wonder is De'Aaron Fox going to wind up in that category? How much success do the Sacramento Kings have to have? Do they have to have success compared to their expectations? Because I'd argue if they continue to win at this clip that they're on, they will. That will be success versus their the expectations for them.
Absolutely.
Or does it have to be a Sacramento Kings burst on the scenes type thing over the course of the next handful of weeks?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. You brought up a good point. No Westbrook. I mean, that opens up a huge spot. And then I just realized after you said that, no James Harden.
No James Harden
opens up a
either.
huge spot. So it looked like, I know before the season, people were saying, could make an all-star bid. I was like, as much as I love Fox and I think he's going to grow, I mean, it was just too hard. I mean, off the top of your head, you're talking Dame, Steph at the time, Harden, Westbrook. That's tough to crack.
No Clay either.
Yeah, no Clay. Yeah. So I don't know. The more I've thought about it in the last 12, 20 hours, whatever the case may be, I think he could get in there. I do. I definitely think he can get in there. I didn't mention Luka either.
Luka's going to make it.
Yeah, he's going to make it.
No matter how bad Dallas is. And
you want to do the whole hour on their losing streak? I can do it.
I know you'd enjoy that. I don't think anybody passed the cursory nod of, hey, guess what? The Mavericks seem to really stink right now. And I don't think everybody has the venom towards the Dallas Mavericks that you do. I find that one of your stranger. I know why you don't like the Packers or the Cowboys or the Rams, or anybody in the NFC West. I understand why you don't like the Dodgers and I guess even the Lakers and things like that. But your disgust for the Mavericks is always weird to me.
It's a little different. I admit it's a little different, but it's there. It ain't going nowhere.
They've lost 6 straight, man.
That was a great finish last night. Speaking of Devin Booker, big time shot from him last night.
Yeah. Is there any chance at all? And this is probably a reach, but again, performance versus expectations. John Wall?
I don't think he makes the All-Star team.
Okay.
I don't
think so either. But again,
I know what you're saying.
Performance versus expectations. Wow, what a cool story John Wall is.
Yeah.
Let's give him an All-Star nod.
And so Alex Smith.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it could be.
And he's playing better.
But I don't know if he's going to put up the numbers though. I know he's going to put up good numbers, but I don't think we can look right now. I don't think he's going to get to 23 a night.
I mean, he's had some big nights. Most of those, I think, were against the Sacramento Kings. But
for sure.
What you have is, Christian Wood is kind of the guy leading that team. I mean, he's at 17. He being John Wall is at 17.8 points per game.
Yeah.
And so I just throwing it out there more for story than play. But you know how people can get sentimental.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They need to get sentimental with De'Aaron Fox. That's what they need to do. All right. That's what they need. You know, one thing that before we get Mark Jones in there.
Yeah, Christian Wood is the all-star. Like that's
Bro,
the thing when you look at
23
at the Rockets, like that's the dude that's the all-star for that team.
Wow.
Just as we all predicted headed into the year that Christian Wood would be the all-star for the Houston
And they've
Rockets.
won what, 6 in a row, 7 in a row?
Man, is it that many? Wow.
It's definitely 6. It might be 7.
It's 6. Yeah. No, it's 6 in a row. The only team, the team with the longest winning streak in the league right now is the Memphis Grizzlies at 7.
And man, they won again last night. Easy work against San Antonio, man. So
got to bring back the power rankings. Power rankings tomorrow. Let's go.
You already know what time it is. But you know, this is you know, I stop in my tracks when I hear that Joe pop on. Hey. But you know, one thing that maybe I'm making a mountain out of an anthill. Is that how it goes? Molehill out of an anthill.
They're both. I mean, anthills are a little bit more, but let's go with moles. Let's go with moles. The molehill.
Maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. But De'Aaron Fox. Remember how I talked about how like the Kings just let people do stuff and you know kind of push them around and do whatever. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but do you remember De'Aaron Fox getting a technical against Orlando?
Yes.
And the situation was, I think he was guarding Ennis, and he fouled Ennis, and Fox said something to the official like, yo, that's a foul? And Ennis might have said something back to him, and then De'Aaron just starts talking to Ennis. It was like, blah, 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 this and that, whatever. And then the ref was like, both of you guys, cut it out. Technical foul. And it's something so small and so minute. But to me, I loved it. I loved him saying, no, like, I'm here. I thought that was nonsense. You're not going to talk to me. I got you locked up. Like, kind of, it's weird. It's weird. I know I'm weird. It's weird to me. But in a small way, he like stood up for himself. Like, no, you crazy. Like, I had you locked up, and I'll tell you about it. And it's such a contrast from what they normally do. The Kings don't never get technical fouls, ever. Whether it's talking to the opponent or to the refs.
Last night being the lone exception to the suddenly pesky Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, now they're outlaws.
Now we're all of a sudden the bad boys of the capital city in California. For God's sakes.
Yeah, but I like that from Fox. And I don't know, man. It just, something about it, it just saw that he had a little edge right now, and he's carrying that edge. And I love the way he's approaching the game right now.
You like when guys flex a little bit, kind of. Yeah, I almost use the like stand up for themselves. Almost.
Yeah, and only when it's warranted, not in a Draymond Green front running type of situation. I like it. Yeah, I took a shot.
If you thought we were going to go a single day without a Sting baseball bat to Draymond Green, you were wrong. Just start counting the days. If you're on the streams, you're with us daily. Just start keeping track of the consecutive days. You're going to put Lou Gehrig you're going to put Cal Ripken Jr. to shame.
I'll find a way to get to 21-32. Believe that.
I'm very confident.
But not in that way, because I don't really like the person that always talks. But you know, when it's warranted, like we'll talk. I'm not going to start the talking, but if you want to talk, we'll talk. And that's kind of how De'Aaron Fox has kind of approached things. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I love that from any Kings member. Just the frustrating part is that's not what happened last night with Marvin Bagley. Marvin was just thrown out because the ref was agitated. I don't know what the case was. Even their explanation post game was still a bit head scratching. Like,
bizarre. Okay,
that's how you took that, because literally you got to be the only person who took it that way.
Right. Like, Damien, we didn't even talk about it. Wasn't a foul.
Dude,
We didn't even talk about that. Got the foul call wrong.
And again, that's where you've got to use discretion. Like, you know what? He's probably right. Maybe I should just let this one ride and not call this one.
On a Twitch feed, they're calling him Marvin Boogie Bagley now for his technical fouls.
Oh dear. Boogie Bagley. That's funny. Okay, let's make that stick. Let's make that stick.
Marvin Boogie Bagley.
Boogie Bagley. Like I'm with that. Like, he's obviously become a detriment to the team. He's a detriment to society, really. If you look at his behavior, my goodness.
He's an outlaw.
I mean, this is I mean, there were kids watching last night, KC. Like,
At this point, Damien, let's do a compare and contrast. Who is worse, this 2021 Kings team or the Jailblazers?
One more game like we saw last night, man, and we'll put the Jailblazers to rest. We'll put the Detroit Pistons to rest. We'll put all those teams to rest, and it'll be Marvin Bagley and his degenerate behavior, if you will.
Degenerate behavior.
His degenerate behavior with the officials last night. I mean, gosh, imagine if Reese was watching. Imagine if your son was watching that.
Never in a million years.
Unbelievable.
I won't let him watch BET Uncut, and I won't let him watch the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, it gets. Hey, it's a cold world out there, man. It gets tough. It gets tough. You're listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, a radio.com sports station, and driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge. He's Kenny Caraway.
Yeah.
I'm Damian Barling. We're thrilled that you're here with us on ESPN 1320 or on the radio.com app. We appreciate everybody watching along on YouTube and on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We strongly encourage you to go follow those channels, subscribe those channels. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and hit the thumbs up for this. Let's bring in Sacramento Kings play-by-play guy, Mark Jones. Mark, thrilled to have you with us here yet again. How much fun are you having calling this Sacramento Kings team right now? What do you think about De'Aaron Fox? This has been a big topic of conversation on the show today. Obviously, the 38 points last night, the two giant outings against the New Orleans Pelicans. We're starting to float the term all-star out there a little bit, Mark. Like you see the league better than all of us do. What do you think? Can he beat out guys like Devin Booker and Chris Paul and the plethora of guards that are in this conference?
Mm. Mm. Well. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And look, I agree with you 100%, Mark. I always say that De'Aaron has so much on his plate than a lot of different guys that are all stars and some of these other young guys. Like I joke on here all the time. I say he's the straw that stirs the drink, but he really has everything about this franchise on his plate. And no discredit to anybody else, but a lot of times by himself. And he's carrying a lot on his load. And lately he's been up to the challenge. I love it. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. And look here, Mark, as long as he keeps making moves that forces Mark Jones to drop bars like that's got to be jelly because Jam don't move like that, then we good. We're good over here. As long as he keep making moves like that, we good.
Those
That's bars, man.
no doubt.
Mm.
Mark Jones with us here on D'Lo and KC on ESPN 1320. You mentioned, Doug, he made an entire career off of being the best defender on the floor, certainly one of the best defenders on the floor, and we've seen a tremendous shift in terms of defense over the course of the last 3-4 games or so. What have you guys talked about? Like, what do you guys see that is just so, and I don't think I'm overstating the word, dramatically different on the defensive end since that New York Knicks game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mark, we have a kind of a running joke that is actually reality on this show. We've talked about De'Aaron Fox. We've talked about Rich Kalamian. We've talked about so many other things. We could talk about wrestling or whatever the case may be before we actually get to what Harrison Barnes has been doing on it. He's like the forgotten man and all these things. And I thought last night, his play when Bagley went out in that third quarter, and they didn't, make a run, but I felt like he kept that game from being like 18, 20 points down with his play, and it allowed them to be within striking distance. Just talk to me about what you've seen from Harrison Barnes, especially on this road trip. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm, absolutely. Mm,
Tremendous stuff, Mark. We love tuning in and listening to you in DC each night. We appreciate all the love that you're showing the Sacramento local businesses as well, man. Thanks for joining us today.
yes, and yes, indeed. Hey, hey, Mark, can we get on the boat, man? Can we get on the boat next time we in Miami, man? I ain't got no Balenciagas, but we got some off whites, man. What's up? Can we get on the boat?
Book it.
My man.
That's
My
what's
man.
up. Mark Jones with us here. We appreciate you, Mark. Thank you as always. We'll step out. We'll come back. More of D'Lo and KC here on ESPN 1320.
My clock froze. I had us at 11. There we go. I had us at 11.
Yeah, definitely not 11.
Oh, he's talking.
We were already talking. Like, it don't matter whether we be good or not. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm good. You got 14 on yours?
Yeah. Thanks, Jake. Situation. We had no idea. No clue at all. It's 114.
Okay.
Mark's silent on the stream. Like some of you guys I hate. Like I actually hate you. Dr. Cheesesteak, I hate you.
Oh, Dr. Cheesesteak. Dr. Cheesesteak, where you at, man?
Jake's situation for tweeting it twice or messaging us twice. We're aware. Rich is the guy who gets it. Hey guys, not sure if you're aware, but I can't hear Mark Jones. Oh man, we tried. I was so excited. I had this big grand idea yesterday. I was like, this is it. We figured it out. And so now as soon as the show ends, I'm gonna sit in here and try to figure it out again. We're sorry. Thanks for staying with us. We only lost a couple of you, man. So thanks for hanging out. We'll grow up one day.
No. We ain't grown up. We'll grow up with like the stuff that we have. But
that stuff. Yeah. No. It's still a sophomore class field trip right here.
Let's see what the people talking about. They calling me KWA, Kenny with an attitude. Yeah,
so there
okay.
Isn't sound. No, Manny. There isn't sound.
Let's see. Hey, that's a good one.
Y'all are stupid. You guys are stupid.
That's a good one. Shout out to Running Man 2080.
That is fantastic.
I'm weak.
That is fantastic. I love it.
I am weak. That's funny.
Oh man. So what do y'all do,
Who
man?
don't
You
need
guys
cereal? I definitely eat cereal. What you talking about, Manny? I got Fruit Loops, Honey Nut Cheerios, and Crunch Berries all above my refrigerator right now.
I do not eat cereal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't help them.
I do not eat cereal.
Can't help them there.
I would rather eat my sugary calories some other way. Though when I see someone eat cereal, it's like, damn, this is so funny, dude. I can't stop. My eyes are just drawn to this message. It's just
that was some really good stuff.
Oh man, please share the word with all your folks, man, and let them know that we're on Twitch. We're on YouTube and getting a little growth here in these.
You know, one thing that I think about here when I think about why I hate Dallas, a lot of it has to go back to early 2000s. Kings would just destroy them, and people are like, "Oh, Dirk and Nash, oh, they make the game so much fun." Like Bibby would go to work on Steve Nash, Paige would go to work on Dirk. Like it was curtains every time, right? But I also think some of it has to do with like long time ago, and still to this day, but long time ago. Obviously, I hate the Cowboys, so I hate everything Dallas. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Big JFK fan, and just like I can't ever forgive Dallas. Like I can't never get over Dallas.
I'm sure you have. You've been everywhere, man. Like that old Holiday Inn commercial. You've been to Dallas before?
Yeah.
How you like it?
I was Dallas. I loved it. I liked it a lot.
I've been to Austin.
I've been to Austin too. Austin's
like
dope.
Austin. Yeah.
We're about to start booting people off the chat for the first time. So the running gag is you can't hear the phone. We thought we had it all figured out this morning. Like you can't hear the phone on the live stream. So Rich sends us a message that says, for a guy who announces games, Mark Jones sure didn't have much to say during that interview. We had another one that said, Mark Jones, strong silent type. You guys are jerks, man. I swear. But we appreciate y'all listening, particularly those on the radio.com app where you're hearing the entire show versus those on Twitch and YouTube who just hear the portions that we allow them to hear. If you want to be a part of the conversation, jump in on one of these social media channels. It's got its own chat room. It gets a little wild at times, but it's got its own chat room.
Sometimes I don't know what these people be talking about, man. They forget it. They don't even worry about the show no more. They be in their own discussions.
They've got their... We'll be in the middle of what I think is just a hell of a conversation on De'Aaron Fox and the intricacies of last night's game and why the Kings have played such great defense. And I'll look in the corner and there'll be like 67 messages. Like, what the hell is going on in the last 10 minutes in this chat room?
Man, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Absolutely not.
They were talking about cereal one day.
It was LeVar Ball earlier.
Yeah.
After LaMelo Ball wins the Eastern Conference Rookie of the Year or Rookie of the Month, and Tyrese Halliburton wins the Western Conference Rookie of the Month. I think those two will be dueling it out for the Rookie of the Year. It's going to be tough to get it away from Lonzo because Lonzo is going to be playing. I mean, LaMelo, because LaMelo's going to be
at Jazzy 510 would call him.
I'm surprised you haven't opened a bottle of champagne yet in your house. I'm surprised we haven't heard.
I haven't been out of the studio. Maybe they have.
We haven't heard frantic screams like, yeah, LaMelo.
Oh, LaFrance. That's what she always says.
At D'Lo and KC on Twitter, at ESPN1320 on Twitter as well, 916-349-1320. If you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's shift gears here from the Sacramento Kings, from one of your loves to another, to the San Francisco 49ers. Been so much talk about the quarterback position. You know what? Before we do that, because we just finished our conversation with Mark Jones. If you missed it, you can use the rewind feature on the radio.com app, or you can subscribe to the D'Lo and KC podcast over on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcast from. All that we ask is that you hit the 5 stars. We already know that you're digging the show. Who's got better Kings talk than we do? Hit the 5 stars there. And if it takes 2 seconds, literally search D'Lo and KC, stars, boom, hit the 5th one. Dave Meltzer would be proud. Also, like 6 people got that reference. Also, we were talking about De'Aaron Fox in the All-Star game. We should point out there's an All-Star game.
I'm not even going to go to the sound on that one because I don't want butts in the seats.
There's going to, that's a whole other thing we got to talk about. Apparently there are butts in courtside seats. Well, let's slow down. We'll get to that in just a minute. The NBA and the NBA Players Association are progressing towards an agreement for an All-Star game on March 7th at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. I want you to remember the name, State Farm Arena in Atlanta, because it's going to come back into the conversation here in about 10 minutes. So just make a little mental note of that. State Farm Arena in Atlanta. A single night event that would encompass the Eastern versus Western Conference game as well as skills competition. The skills competition includes the skills competition, the 3-point contest, and the dunk contest.
Oh, gosh.
COVID don't live in Atlanta, baby.
Oh,
Welcome
boy.
to Atlanta where the players play.
Man, oh, man. I mean,
that's what JD meant all of those years ago. Got it. It's where the NBA players go when there's a pandemic to play basketball.
Now. It finally comes together. He was a fortune teller.
He was. He was.
I mean, I have to believe. So this is, talk about Dallas and JFK. This is conspiracy theory Kenny here. I have to believe
that's true. We did talk about Dallas and JFK, by the way, but go ahead.
This has to be a call from your Disneys, your ESPNs, your Turners to say, we pay you a lot of money. And part of what we pay you for is we want an all-star weekend. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because I don't hear any players clamoring saying, no, we have to have an all-star. Nobody in the league is saying we have to have an all-star game. If you want to make selections, cool. Like, yes, I think you definitely need to make selections, but nobody's clamoring for a game right now.
They canceled a game yesterday, like at tip.
That's
right before tip.
Yeah, Denver and Detroit, I think it was.
Yeah, like right before tip, the game was canceled. And it's like, oh, okay. We're really worried about an all-star game, huh? Like, all right, let's. And I think it was you and Jason Jones were talking about this on the J Street Vibes podcast. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to put together all of the best players in one place at one time and just hope everything works out, because aren't all of those players going to go back to their teams afterwards?
You want to talk about and I hope not. I'm knocking on wood all this. But you want to talk about a super spreading event?
I don't think the NBA. I don't think the NBA and Adam Silver have had too many missteps since March 11th.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like one. This feels like a misstep. Even perception-wise, this just feels like a bad idea. You don't need it. Like this, it's not like this is the Super Bowl where 30,000 people are going to be at, by the way, which makes me change my original prediction because I thought it was 22,000. It's 30,000 in attendance for the Super Bowl. That means you're going to get at minimum 40,000+ at WrestleMania a little over a month.
Put everybody on the field. You put everybody on, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's fine. What you're going to want to get is Vince McMahon saying this was the largest, safest event since the pandemic struck America over a year ago. It's going to be this big intro video like Hulk Hogan leg dropping COVID-19 or something. Welcome to WrestleMania 38. So this just
looks
feels
to be going after Drew, by the way.
I saw a little bit of that. He'll be on SmackDown on Friday, though.
True.
I just don't. That story to me doesn't work. And neither does this All-Star game.
And they're going to take the strap off of Drew.
It's fine.
Yeah. I'm okay. You know, the Rated R Superstar is my guy. That's my guy from way back. So, yeah, I'm good with that.
You know who else is a big wrestling fan? As he segues here, George Kittle. George Kittle is a big wrestling fan. We actually, right before the show started, and this was one of the rare times I didn't have it on in the background this morning. I guess George Kittle was on First Take, and he was surprised by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Which is pretty cool. I know our friends over at 95.7 The Game once surprised him after his contract extension with a call in from Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So he is a big time wrestling fan. I think he's been called the people's tight end.
Yes, he is.
The
That's
Rock,
exactly what he is.
The Rock has signed off. He's given his blessing on that. So George Kittle is he's fans of professional wrestlers, and he's made them fans of his. And Kittle, well, he's a fan of the San Francisco 49ers current quarterback. He was on Good Morning Football and was asked about, everything he's heard regarding Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, I haven't really heard anything. I was in Cabo for a little bit, and now I'm in Tennessee working on a house. I definitely see Twitter, likes to talk. And I mean, in my opinion, that's about all it is. It's talk and it's chatter. And, the Niners are in the playoffs this year. So let's look at the biggest headlines and what else is there to talk about except for our handsome quarterback, Jimmy G. And I think that's all, everybody wants to talk about for some reason, but it is what it is. And, Jimmy's a hell of a quarterback. Took us to a Super Bowl last year. Unfortunately, some injuries prohibited us this year, and I know prohibited him from performing at his best. And I still believe in Jimmy G. I think he's an incredible quarterback. I think he can lead us to another Super Bowl. I think we can win a Super Bowl with him. And I can't even talk enough about his leadership skills on and off the field. So I feel like I've answered this question about 200 times now since I last talked to you guys after last Super Bowl. But I'll keep dying on the sword because I think Jimmy G's a fantastic quarterback. He's got an amazing release. He's got a great arm and he's got a great touch. So, I'm happy to have Jimmy G as my quarterback, and I know that we can win with him.
I just think of that line from DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Parents just don't understand. You're going to have to go through this about 200 more times. You've gone through 200. You got 200 more to go. And until there's some sort of commitment to Jimmy Garoppolo, you're going to continue to get this question. And I mean, I don't expect, just to be clear, I don't think what George Kittle just said was breaking news. That's exactly how I would expect him to respond regarding a quarterback that I think he has a very good relationship with.
Yeah,
but I also don't think he's going to go, I love Jimmy, man, but Deshaun, that boy good. Man, can what does it cost? You got to trade me? Don't trade me. Trade somebody else. He's not going to say any of that, man. Come on.
Nah, absolutely. There's something genuine about what these guys have been saying about Jimmy Garoppolo for like the last 2 years now. And the players, his teammates, from everything that I see, we can go down the line. We can go to Juszczyk, Kittle, Emmanuel Sanders, after he went to the Saints, was asked about Jimmy Garoppolo. They love Jimmy and they believe in Jimmy. And I don't think anybody is sitting up here saying that Jimmy Garoppolo is a top 5 quarterback in the league, or, he's one of the up and coming GOATs or anything like that. But I do think we've gotten to the point now where people talk about Jimmy G and they undervalue him. And people can say, well, I'm not, they can say like, oh, I'm not saying that he's a scrub or anything. But I mean, the way you talk about him, you kind of are talking him like he's a scrub. Like there's no way you can win with him under center. And I don't believe in that. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, I think you can win a Super Bowl with him. I think you can get back to the Super Bowl. And you can say, well, you need so many other things around you. Yeah, no doubt. I almost said something else. No doubt, Sherlock. Okay. Like, you need a good team. You need a good team to get to the Super Bowl. Yes. Like, why is that crazy to say about Jimmy and not anybody else? You need a running game. You need a defense. You need weapons. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So
breaking news.
Right? So I think that I think he's getting undervalued to a certain degree. And we've talked about it numerous times, but I'm getting more into the camp of, man, bring Jimmy back, improve elsewhere, because there's other holes on this on this roster and in this franchise, and bring back the quarterback. Yeah. Now his thing about, one thing I will say that isn't being overblown is his durability issues. I think that's a real concern.
Sure.
So, yeah, there is that. But if he's on the field, I think they're fine.
Are you this and that's kind of where my concern lies with your idea regarding Jimmy Garoppolo being back next year, is that if he is, and I agree with you 1,000%. I don't challenge you very often when it comes to 49er stuff. Like, that's your squad. You know it better than anybody. My concern, though, and I don't challenge the fact that they need to address other positions. They need to address their secondary. They need to address that offensive line, or they need to get Mike McGlinchey to play differently. I don't know which one they need to do first, but they've got to fix a lot of different things. And I think they need a strong – I think Kyle Shanahan needs to go against his wishes and hopes and dreams, and they need a primary running back. Because without having a primary running back, like when you can't get anything established. I know Raheem Mostert is really good, but he's in the same exact category that Jimmy Garoppolo is in. Is that, like, well, you can't stay on the field, so you can't be really good if you can't stay on the field. I would like to see them get a workhorse running back, one that can carry the ball 30 times a game, and one that can wear down defenses. I want to see the 49ers do that. But my concern, KC, is if they don't address the quarterback position and he gets hurt next year. Even if it's nagging injuries, even if it's in and out of starting lineups and not anything catastrophic, it's like, why didn't you address this? You know what I mean? I think they're going to be in a really difficult spot if they choose not to address the quarterback position this offseason.
Well, my answer would be because we can't afford to, financially and with our roster. Like, all right, if we went out and got a quarterback, we'd have this gaping hole at cornerback. We'd have this gaping hole on the offensive line. We'd have the same running back issues that we ran into this year. If you asked me the question, if I was John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and say Jimmy gets hurt in week 3 next year and it's the same backup issues, my answer would be like, we had a lot of holes. Like, we couldn't address it. We just couldn't. We would love to. We see it too, but we had a whole lot of other things that we had to address. And I love your point about the running back. I'm not saying his first round or maybe even second round, but yes, give me, I mentioned earlier a couple of weeks ago, give me a Brandon Jacobs type, somebody that you can run into the line that can push the pile forward 3 or 4 yards, because Raheem Mostert is a playmaker. He is not an every down back. He can't hold up to that. So Raheem Mostert is somebody that you might get maybe 15 carries out of in a game, but he's really like this specialty back at this point. He can't hold up to the grind and the pounding of a full NFL season. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I know my guys on the morning roast, they talk all the time about Najee Harris out of Alabama. Oh my gosh, I would love Najee Harris. Yeah. I would love for him to be a San Francisco 49er, because you need, it's not necessarily running back by committee, but it's running back by role, right? Mm-hmm. Your role, Najee Harris or Brandon Jacobs type, is I'm going to pound you into this line, and you're going to get the bulk of the carries when we need the short yardage or we need to grind out clock. Raheem, you're the playmaker. All my home run hitters, I'm running for you. And if you see that hole, you have that ability to hit that hole on another level and take it to the house. Running back by role, not by committee.
Do running backs from Alabama work out well in the NFL? I can't think of one that has been absolutely extraordinary. Oh, by the way, lost in all of this with the Super Bowl coming up Sunday is they're going to name the MVP on Saturday. I know no one knows that, because it's the dumbest thing in all of sports to announce the MVP winner and all of the award winners for that matter, which I assume I bring that up because it feels like a certainty that Aaron Rodgers is going to win. I'm curious where Derrick Henry finishes. The last guy to rush for 2,000 yards won the MVP award. He's not going to win the MVP, but I am curious to where he finishes. Does he finish top 5? Does he finish 2? Does he finish 3?
I would say 3rd.
Behind Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Rodgers, Mahomes, and I think another thing that'll be interesting is to see where Brady finishes. Because
17th.
Doubt it. I can't wait. I've been trying to talk myself out of, because we've got to make our obligatory Super Bowl predictions. I've been trying to talk myself out of the one that I have. And every time I try to talk myself out of it, I just get more incensed that I'm right.
Chiefs by blowout?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no point in waiting till Friday. I think the Chiefs are going to kick the crap out of
them. I said it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to just. But I keep saying, like, that's crazy. This is a Super Bowl. They're not going to get blown out. Like, wait a minute. Didn't Seattle blow out Denver? Like, no, blowouts happen. What am I talking about? There's so much. And I heard, oh man, was it Marcus Spears? I think said, the most important person in the game is not Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. It's Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is the most important person in this upcoming game, and so I keep trying to, Todd Bowles. He's not going to let them. Like, no, this is Patrick Mahomes. He's otherworldly. I just keep going towards a blowout.
The only thing that gives me any kind of pause is the fact that the Chiefs seem to be dealing all of a sudden with these offensive line issues. They lost
COVID
Fisher.
issues. Yeah.
Well, COVID issue, but they lost Fisher to the torn Achilles.
Yeah, but there's, I think their center's on the COVID list.
Daniel Kilgore, I think it is. Yeah, he's on the COVID list. So they got these situations going on with the offensive line that might make it a little sketchy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Tampa Bay is that good. Like they're cool. They're cool, but I don't think they're that good.
I've said that all year. I didn't think they'd be here. So I'll see if my mind changes by the time we get to Friday.
Did they ever hit our power rankings? I don't know if they ever hit our power rankings.
The Bucks did. Yeah, probably.
It might have been for 1 week.
Yeah, they weren't mainstays, but they were there.
Because every time they had some prosperity, they'd get like smacked around. So I remember they were ascending, and then the Saints smacked them around, and then they came back from that, and then the Rams smacked them down. So
they played the Chiefs this year.
And played them close on the score. Tyreek Hill, didn't he have like 200 yards in the first quarter?
I think he had 2,000 in the game. Like he's phenomenal. I'll see if my mind changes by Friday, but each time I try to change it, I just become, no, it's not going to be 40-3. It's going to be 50-3. So by the time we get to Friday, it's going to be like 87-2. So we'll keep following. We'll have our fun with Super Bowl. By the way, the day after the Super Bowl, we're going to be on for 4 hours. I actually really don't know next week when our show ends. I know it starts at 12. I think we go till 4. We might go till 4:30. I'm not 100% sure when our show ends next week, but we've got a couple of extended versions of D'Lo and KC coming up, along with, of course, courtside for all the games next week as well.
Can't wait, baby.
Damian Barling, Kenny Caraway. 4 topics, 2 arguments, no winners. One-on-one with D'Lo and KC.
Let's make mention to all of those listening to us on ESPN 1320 and on the radio.com. You can watch the show on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320 or just search ESPN 1320 in your Twitch app. You can also watch us on YouTube. All of your chats come directly to us. We would love to hear from you if you're on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, do all of those things that you have to do on Twitch. Share the video. Let everybody know that D'Lo and KC are broadcasting live for you.
Everywhere, baby.
Video
everywhere.
Form. Remember the State Farm Arena that we just mentioned there a moment ago in Atlanta?
Yeah, interesting place.
Yes, quite interesting, as it gave birth last night to Courtside Karen.
I've heard that name like 100 times, and it cracks me up now. Courtside Karen.
Dubbed by LeBron James, 4 courtside fans, at least one of which who was not wearing her mask, which is mandatory by the arena and by the league, were thrown out after an exchange with Your Highness. Now, LeBron didn't ask for anybody to be thrown out. He didn't mandate that anybody be thrown out. Actually, the referees stopped the game when they saw the exchange, and then they threw them out when the young lady removed her mask to cuss at LeBron James. Now, LeBron went to the post-game media session and just said, hey, it was an exchange between, me and the guy. Like, it's cool that, fans are back. He probably said some things that he shouldn't have, but I didn't advocate for them to be thrown out. Like, it was no big deal. I didn't think they needed to be thrown out, but that's what the NBA felt. So that's kind of their business, and that's fine. We had a game to play. This woman went like on social media, and apparently the only word that she knows how to speak fluently is the F word. Jeez. Because she used it over and over and over and over again in an Instagram post. Really, that's really not the most stunning part. Fans getting thrown out of the games, fans cussing at players cussing. Like, none of that is shocking. Courtside Karen was sitting on the court. Like, she was right. Again, COVID doesn't exist in Atlanta.
She was sitting in the Monty McNair seats.
Yeah, exactly. That's exact. And Monty McNair don't even sit in the Monty McNair seats. He's like, no, man, we in a pandemic. What are you talking about? I ain't sitting down there. watching from the house. Yeah, so I think there's so many different things to dissect there. There's the fan getting thrown out. The fact that fans are sitting courtside in Atlanta, and then there is what LeBron James has dubbed courtside Karen.
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on there. The number one thing being, why were these people that close in the first place? Like right now, but like you mentioned, in Georgia, COVID doesn't exist, so maybe that's why they were actually courtside. Oh, not to mention they want to put an all-star game there. So
yeah, I thought we voted for COVID to exist in Georgia a couple weeks ago, but apparently that's not how the election works, and it just jumped right over Georgia. Apparently it's avoided the whole like Southeast.
Yeah.
Georgia, Florida,
Amazing.
It's all good down there.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. On another note, though, where do you stand on, fan player interaction? Like, does it cross the line?
Yeah,
does it cross the line for a player? Like, so she was saying what LeBron said back to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he said what he said. Does it cross the line for a player and what they might respond back to?
No. So this is God. I didn't think you were going to ask me that. This is hypocritical. I don't think fans should be able to do that, especially in those types of seats. Like I don't think because you bought a ticket, you could boo and you can cheer, you can chant and do all of that stuff. But once you start crossing the line of like personal attacks or vulgar attacks, or especially again when you're sitting that close in an empty arena. Predominantly, there weren't 17. That we're killing Atlanta for this. There weren't 17,000 people there last night.
Right.
But no, for me, no, absolutely not. That is absolute grounds for being thrown out.
The name calling and the disrespect, we all know what it is. Everybody knows what it is. That isn't acceptable. But I'm with LeBron, and I understand where he's coming from, where he says, I missed the trash talking. Like, I have no problem with the Spike Lee, Reggie Miller, when they were going at it back in the day or whatever, even though Reggie was the one that in this instance crossed the line a couple times with what he was saying to Spike Lee. But that interaction, like that's what the NBA is. That's what you can do in the NBA. That's why courtside seats are what they are. There's no reason for them to be where they were at last night, and they got personal and got out of pocket 100%. But in general, the whole courtside, we're talking trash back and forth to the players. I think that's what makes the NBA unique.
So let's expand this question a little bit. Where are you on the celebrity mascot? The Spike Lees, the Drakes. Where are you on?
Have you seen how many times I use the Drake meme?
I hate it. Like I absolutely. Didn't Drake give, was it Nick Nurse or Dwayne Casey? He gave one of those two guys as like a shoulder massage during a timeout. And it's like, yo, what is happening right now?
That was crazy. No, that was a trip.
Yeah, you can't do that. Like, what is that? But it encourages. So that's the other thing. Like, it encourages fans to think like, well, I can do it because I pay for my ticket courtside. Like, it encourages that stuff in Atlanta. And I'm not like super like, and this isn't like, old man yelling at the clouds. It's just not my favorite thing. I feel like Jack Nicholson has just been a fan who sits courtside. Not that he doesn't speak to the players. I recognize that he does. But
Jack be wilding out sometimes though.
I think Jack wild out like back in the day. I don't think he still does.
He wild out, not necessarily against the players because all the players like him, but the refs.
He goes at the ref. I think that's okay.
I think it's all okay.
Because at that point, okay.
I love them all. I think that's what makes the NBA the NBA. That's what makes it fantastic.
Wow. Okay. I don't have a follow up to that, so go ahead.
One day, I hope that I am the Kings mascot. Be on the court. I'll be talking not disrespectful crazy, but I'm gonna be all in them players' ears.
Okay. You gonna be doing the Draymond Green to Kevin Durant like in Tyrese Halliburton's ear? Just be talking to him hella fast, pointing at his chest or poking him or whatever,
or I'll do the Drake to Draymond Green when he said trash.
Yes, you absolutely will do that, and I will be sitting in row Z when you do that as far as possible.
Yeah, that's going to be a good time. All right, my turn now. So, got a question for you. Today is February 2nd. It's Groundhog Day, okay? I'm always confused, and people will explain it to me every single year. I'm confused about Groundhog Day and what gives us more winter, what doesn't. Shadow, no shadow. Don't even bother explaining to me. That's besides the point. But the question is, if you had an opportunity to relive any sports moment in your life over again, like it's Groundhog Day, what would it be for you?
Okay, so we kind of, I'm gonna remove anything like personal. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna remove like the 2005 WNBA championship. Like I'm gonna remove some of those like seminal moments, because they're far more personal than anything anybody else would care about. So if I just relegated it to a game, you know, I said this before, I honestly think the most fun I've ever had watching a basketball game, and I can't even think of a football game that compares to it, is Kobe's last game. I had so much fun, like just shoot Kobe. Like every time he touched the ball, shoot it from half court, just shoot it from everywhere. I cheered. Like I was jumping up in the fourth quarter every time he scored, thinking, dude, he's gonna get 40, he's gonna get 50. Like, oh my God, Kobe's gonna score 60. That was the most fun I've had, and I've racked my brain trying to think of a game that I was that emotionally invested in. I mean, like I have different memories of. Not that anybody ever wants to relive this, but I have different memories of Game 7, you know, than everybody else does. I was working. I was on the air at KSFM at the time, and I was running into the Jock Lounge where we would just hang out. Yeah. Watching the game while the song was on, and come, you know, running back into the studio to do my work. And I remember when the game went to overtime, I did a break saying that the Kings game just went to overtime. We'll keep you updated. We go to commercial, couple of songs. By the time I talked, the game was over and the Kings had lost. And I remember like, hey, I'm signing off for the night. Bye. Like like it was just the most dejecting thing in the world. I remember where I was for Mike's shot. I remember where I was for the Ori shot.
Oof.
But I don't want to relive any of that.
Damn
so,
you,
like, ultimately, it just, I think it, and I can't think of a better one. I think it's the Kobe game. I think it's the Kobe's final game is the one I'd relive over and over again.
That was a lot of fun. I definitely remember watching that in my living room. To your point about Game 7. Now, I left Sacramento for almost a decade. Well, I was gone for a decade. It was like 11 years. So I don't know what happened, you know, in the streets in those 11 years. But I remember riding around town after Game 7 2002. That was the most dejected I've ever seen this city. Like it was, I went to Bel Air afterward and it was sad.
Bad.
It was so sad. I've never seen anything like that. I don't
deathly quiet.
Yeah, I don't know if like when they thought they were leaving, if it was the same thing or whatever, because I wasn't here at the time. But I'd never seen anything like Game 7 2002. So there's that. But my answer, I could have easily went 49ers, winning Super Bowl 29 or whatever, but I was 11 years old. I wasn't in the streets. I wasn't outside, as they like to say nowadays. So I don't want to go back to that. That was no fun. So I think the most
11-year-old Kenny Caraway can't party.
I tried, but I can't. Okay. But I think I would go to 2010 Giants winning the World Series. That was amazing. That was such a fun time, such a great time. Now I say that also saying Niners haven't won a Super Bowl, but their game against the Saints in 2011, that was special. That was such a great time. And in 2012, when they won the NFC Championship game, going to the Super Bowl, beating Atlanta, that was big time. At the time, I was living in LA, and we had kind of there was a bunch of Niner fans who had kind of taken over this Hooters in Long Beach at the Pike. And we would get together every Sunday, watch the Niners game. And it started, they weren't that good, when we started, but we stayed there the whole time. And it just grew and grew and grew every week. And it was packed out. Like it was all the scenes you've seen of being at a bar and stuff like that to watch games. It was that. It was crazy. And that was a great moment. Now it seems weird because they didn't win the Super Bowl. You know, I'm about the Super Bowl. Yeah. So it's hard to say I want to relive that again, but that was a great day. I remember that day vividly. So it'll be either one of those 2 days.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I have those connections to teams. You know what I mean? So certainly baseball teams. I don't. I liked baseball. I didn't love it. I was a Cowboys fan when I was young. I was a Cowboys fan up until like a handful of years ago, but God knows they never win anything.
Yeah, you didn't have much to celebrate.
No, it didn't have anything to celebrate. And then, when the Cowboys were winning Super Bowls, I was like barely, like I became a Cowboy fan because my grandpa was a 49er fan. And as I got older, I know this is going to be really difficult for you guys to believe, but as I got older, I became a smartass. Like I became a significantly bigger smartass, and I realized I realized the one thing that agitated him more than anything were the Dallas Cowboys. And so just one regular season game, I cheered for the Cowboys just to get under his skin. Well,
Wow.
this was 93. This was the birth of, Emmett
Oh,
and so I
was in the
started
heat.
to like some of the players, and then they won the Super Bowl. Like it was cool. Like I didn't really care that they won the Super Bowl, but then they got Deion, and I loved Deion Sanders. And so that's when I was like, okay, I'm about the Dallas Cowboys, but I never felt like I had that like attachment to them. You know what I mean? So I kind of missed out on those experiences. Alex P texts like, how can you not pick the Spain USA game or any of the Olympic experiences? I kind of thought those were like a little like more personal. Plus there was like I was at the Usain Bolt one. I don't think I want to relive that. Like it wasn't the easiest thing to like navigate in China and all of that stuff. It was pretty awesome. I wouldn't mind reliving it like once, but like Groundhog's Day, I don't know if I want to relive that over and over again.
Real quick, 'cause
I wish
know
I could find the home video so I could share it with you. It's freaking crazy to see him run like that.
I can't imagine seeing Usain Bolt live. That sounds
Seeing
crazy.
sprinters that close you can't, like, being slow and for most of my life fat, I can't wrap my brain around being able to move like that. And so when you see it in person, it's a stunning experience.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm like imagining that right now. That's crazy. Real quick, give me yours because I got something that I want to say afterwards that you might enjoy.
Oh, okay. Major, give you my one-on-one? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Major League Baseball. We're a well-oiled machine here, folks. The Major League Baseball Players Association and Major League Baseball are, they're doing what they do. They had presented a proposal to the Players Association for a shortened season to start in April. I think we had 140 games, 130 games, something along those lines. 154, excuse me. And the Players Association said, no, thanks. We're good. Let's just plan on starting the season on time when we're supposed to and playing 162 games. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And that allegedly is the plan now. And I'm going, gosh, speaking of Groundhog's Day, this feels really familiar. Why do I feel like I remember the Players Association and Major League Baseball going back and forth about when to start the season, how long the season? Oh, that's right. Because they just did it. This was the league that was supposed to start playing sports first, but they couldn't get their act together and wound up having their season shortened all the way to, what was it, like 50 games? It was like a game a day for 2 months or something like that. Like I'm expecting another Major League debacle. I have no question. I just wanted to present this story to you.
Why is MLB so trash?
I don't know, bro. I don't know why
it's self-sabotage at this point. I think they're doing it on purpose.
I thought this was one of the strongest players unions I thought this was one of the strongest players leagues relationship wise. It's very much not. My mistake.
For a long time, they were the worst, I think.
But I thought they cleaned it up.
Yeah.
They did not. They very much did not. So my mistake.
Absolutely not. This is going to be a quick question because I do want to get my comment. I want to hear your reaction on the show to this. First, though, are you excited about EA Sports announcing that NCAA football is coming back, baby? Let's go.
I don't care. What did you want to get my reaction to?
What's even worse about that is they're like, yeah, it's coming back. We should have it in about 2 or 3 years because what? Don't tell me that then. Ridiculous. But real quick, guess what I watched over the weekend? Late Saturday night.
What?
And it's terrible. You talked about Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
Batman.
You watched the Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson and you thought it was terrible?
it's garbage
get in
now.
the show. Like
It is
over.
garbage
We
now.
appreciate you for
Vicky
being with
Vale.
us.
Shout out
this
to
is
Vicky Vale.
ridiculous.
I'll say that, Vicky Vale.
If you missed any part of the show, I can't promise you can edit Kenny out of it, but you might want to edit that last part out of it. Go to the radio.com app. We want to thank Mark Jones. Subscribe to the podcast if you missed the Mark Jones conversation. It'll be available for you here shortly on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and it's available on the radio.com app for you right now. Just open up radio.com, scroll back to 1 o'clock, and it'll be there for you. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to decide the fate of Kenny Caraway as we get out of here. We appreciate you so much for being with us. Damon Ratto and Kolsky are coming up next here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Holla.
The movie is not trash.
No. So look, the
That
story,
is absurd.
the story and everything about I like Batman. So that's fine. The movie is garbage.
It is
the
not
acting is terrible.
No, it's
I know
what
it's
are
a
you
different
talking
time.
about?
The acting is terrible. The special effects are terrible. The whole setting
It
of
was made
Gotham
in
City.
1989.
It's garbage. Today it is garbage.
This is your worst
so,
take ever.
so if you watch The Godfather today, The Godfather doesn't look like a bad movie.
Godfather
Batman,
is flawless.
Batman is terrible. And I
was
watch
a
the
book.
best thing about it. Now we're talking action. I love The Godfather. I love A Bronx Tale too. But the best thing about the movie.
My book collection. This is my fine literary arts. I don't even know. I think that's a Cactus Jack signature. I don't
come on. Now we're talking though.
I don't even know what he settled on.
Now we're talking though. Yeah. But the best thing about that movie is Jack Nicholson. Like he was really good as the Joker. He was
fantastic.
Really, really good as the Joker.
That
but
movie
everything
is not
else
terrible, man. You're
and
crazy.
look, I like Batman. I like the story of him. Like I understand the story of that movie was great. I love it. The movie itself is terrible. I was blown away by how bad that movie was.
I love this.
But
tweet
Kim
I got.
Basinger, hello.
I just looked at this tweet I got. Derrick Henry, exclamation mark. Mark Ingram, exclamation mark. They're Bama running backs. Yeah, dude, it was sarcasm, bro. Like, I'm sorry you missed the segue into the MVP conversation after I asked Kenny if he knew of any running backs in Alabama that worked out.
Was that where's my man? I can't even find it. Oh, was that Jake Situation who texted you
That
that?
better not have been Jake's situation. This was Skeleton DNS, whatever, DNS 1976. I'm gonna hit his ass back here in a minute.
So real quick, Rich.
Dude, and How you
no,
just,
no. Let's not bring the two together because
same.
no, it's not. We're not bringing the two together.
They're the same.
That is completely separate.
Nope.
Scandalous. I know this might be blasphemy to some Prince fans. Scandalous might be my favorite Prince song of all time.
You can't when you say Prince's favorite song, there's no wrong answer.
Let's talk about you and me. Marvelous.
Right.
Baby,
Yeah, dude,
baby,
legit.
can't you see?
This is legit right here. I thought I had been doing too much. I thought I was fatigued. KC needs to.
Nah, man. Come on. Hey, when was the last time you watched Batman?
It was probably a while ago.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Have you ever
Saturday
seen-
night I was watching it. That was some garbage.
It was
movie.
not.
It
Wait,
was so bad. The acting, oh my gosh, the acting was terrible.
Was that
by like the insequential people, like the thieves and everything?
Who are you? I'm Batman. What do you mean? This is great. Or what was did Jack? Wait till they get a load of me. Like, dude, this is great. Dude, you're
Jack
crazy.
was the best thing. Jack,
You're bugging.
it goes Jack, Kim Basinger. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah,
she looked
Kim
phenomenal.
Basinger. Yeah.
And after that, I don't even know what else was good. I mean, the
Hey, no,
commissioner
Michael
was terrible.
Keaton, huh? Okay.
Michael Keaton was no good. Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne was good. Michael Keaton as Batman was not good.
Batman Returns sucks. Batman Forever had Seal. Batman We're just going over the soundtracks here at this point. We're not even concerned
So,
about the movie.
which one had R. Kelly? Gotham City. That was the name of the song. I think it might have been
Gotham
Batman
City.
Forever.
Yeah, I remember that.
But now I know it's a different time. But you compare those Batmans to the last two that came out.
Oh,
I mean,
they're totally different movies.
But I bet
They're just different
I bet
movies.
20 years from now, what was it, Batman Forever or whatever? I bet you 20 years from now they're not saying that about Batman Forever. or whatever the last two were.
Because the Batman, like the Michael Keaton, that's still like a comic book, mostly a kids movie. Despite the fact that there might have been an attempted rape scene, like in the end. Despite that, it was still mostly like a kids movie. It's still mostly a comic.
I don't want to
movie.
go down this rabbit hole, but that reminds me of Rocky 1 in that scene.
Oh yeah, right.
That's uncomfortable.
Like wait.
That's what we doing.
That's what. Okay. All right. Well, there's that scene in you. Remember No Holds Barred, Hulk Hogan's movie? Like, there's a straight up attempted rape scene in that. Like, what are we doing? These are movies that are geared towards kids.
What was he doing? Push-ups with his feet on the bed or something like that?
Well, yeah, no, that's not the. Yeah, that's the scene that's like the like fake sex scene. Yeah, he's doing push-ups. She peeks over the curtain, and it looks like you just see ass, but really it's like Hulk Hogan's like shoulder blades or something. But they kidnapped the girl. Like towards the end, and there's this whole it's like, wow, I was like 9 when I saw this.
Hollywood was wildin'.
Did you ever see the 1960s Batman with like Adam West and Burt Ward?
I saw the
BAMs
TV
and the
show.
Pals? Yeah,
the TV show. Yeah.
So there's a movie with based.
They had a movie come out.
There's a movie where like Batman gets like he's in the ocean and he's trying to climb up and a shark jumps on him, and so there's this like fake there's this fake shark that's probably like this big. It's hanging on Batman's leg and he's trying to like shake it off as he gets into the Batcopter.
Those poor people back in the days trying to make these things work.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, no, but I've been meaning to say that like all week. I can't believe I let yesterday go by. I meant to tell you, I was like, I bet Damien would appreciate this. I watched, it was like 12:30 on Saturday night and it was on Stars. And I was like, I said, I did, now to their credit, I was like, let me watch 5 minutes of this. I ended up watching about an hour. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just kind of stayed with it. And yeah, it was.
I think all of those Batman movies besides that one suck. Like the one with Arnold and the one with Danny DeVito and like I think Michelle Pfeiffer. I think they're all horrible. That's the only one that I think like, oh, this holds up. This is good. If you take it for what it is, it's good.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate it because it was the first. Like it was. Like I said, I appreciate what it was. I appreciate the story. I like Batman. I appreciate all that. Just watching full Karen. I'm not dropping any bombs on here. Not at all. I saw her Instagram live story, like a whole 2-minute story.
Yeah.
That's a wild lady right there.
You know, you mad when you do a 2-minute Instagram story.
That's a wild lady right there.
Those suckers are what, 15 seconds? You're holding your finger on that phone for a long time. Like, do you know how mad you have to be to make a 2-minute Instagram story?
Yeah, that was wild.
Man.
Went full Karen.
And you know she's doing it like she's not making a video, like she's like holding it.
Stop it.
Karen Caraway. That's what KC stands for, Karen Caraway.
Wait a minute, Kyron. Goodbye, Kyron. Affleck was not Affleck ain't done nothing good.
No, that's false.
In my opinion.
Well, no.
Did you like The Town?
It was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
It was okay.
It wasn't bad, but but you're asking the wrong guy. I don't like anything.
It was fine. I didn't mind it. The Town. I didn't mind Ben Affleck. Trying to think. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's never been anything good.
Chiron said tripping.
Oh yeah, he is not pleased with you. He's our resident comic book guy, man. He is not pleased with you whatsoever.
Well, I mean, I'm a Marvel guy anyway. If I had to choose, I'm not really a comic book guy, but if I had to choose, I'd be going to like the Avengers and all this other stuff over Batman. But I like Batman. I do like Batman. Now, for all you guys watching on all the platforms, the YouTubes and the Twitches and all this, you just got a preview at the end of the show of what I do to Damien before the show starts. Like I'll have something wild with like a minute to go and he just goes into the show flustered because I'll say something like, Drake might end up being the best rapper ever.
You've done that. Yeah, you've done that a couple of times where it's just like, man, we're doing this right out the gate, right at 12 o'clock, huh? Forget Mark Jones. Forget everything we got planned. We're going right into this Batman. Because if you had uttered this nonsense at 11:59, oh, it would have been the top of the show. Forget the Kings win last night. Forget 3 out of the last 4, 4 out of the last 5, or whatever it is. Forget all that. We're leading with Kenny's take on Batman.
Yeah, no good. My bad, Warren. So this is go to Dear B-Ball on Instagram, and they got a bunch of like NBA people like this. I got a Kyrie Irving one like this too. But yeah, I like their stuff, man.
And can y'all help us grow these? Why does it keep saying streaming as a talk show? It's supposed to be streaming as sports. Can y'all help with the Twitch?
Because we started talking about Batman, and
I
then
guess that's what it is, man. I guess that's what it is. All right, I'm gonna go see if I can figure out how to let some of the smartasses here. I want to break Mark Jones out of being the strong silent type. So next time we have him on, maybe
we're gonna get there, baby. We're gonna get there. Everybody else in the country done figured it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know how many people are doing. I don't know how many people are streaming audio from 3 separate locations.
Nah, that's another thing.
We'll figure it out, man. All right, we're signing off. Share, follow. If you do podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the D-Lo and Casey podcast. Hit the 5 stars. That's important for us. I convinced the higher ups to allow us to launch that on all the other platforms last week. Oh man, I guess Kenny got to go. Party over. Kenny got to go.
What did Eddie Murphy say? Okay, guys.
Okay, we got to go. Party's over. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We love y'all, man. Thank you.
I'll let y'all.